My family erased me from the will, so I sold their house. The day I turned 18, I woke up to absolute silence. No birthday decorations, no cake in the oven, no excited voices calling my name. Just cold floors and an empty house in the middle of nowhere, Ohio. I walked downstairs. There was a note on the counter. At the lawyer's office. Be back tonight. Stay put. On my phone buzzed. A text from my stepsister, Chloe. Handling family business. Don't worry about it. I didn't need to worry. I already knew. I went straight to Dad's study. On his desk, half hidden under a stack of papers, was a photocopy of a new will. My name, Ava Monroe, crossed out in thick red ink underneath in Dad's handwriting, estate to be divided equally between Rebecca Monroe and Chloe Monroe. My chest went cold. Not sad, not shocked, just cold. I made coffee, opened my laptop, logged into the family trust my grandmother set up years ago. The screen loaded. Ava Monroe, sole beneficiary, full authority effective today. I picked up my phone and called Mr. Kenneth Lawson, the family attorney. He answered immediately. Happy birthday, Ava. I'm selling the estate, I said. Cash deal. Same day close. Can you make it happen? A pause. Your grandmother wrote that clause for exactly this reason. I'll start the paperwork now. I hung up. Then I called Marcus Delgado, the developer who'd been trying to buy our property for 3 years. Still interested in the Monroe estate? Name your price. Hash wire. Close today. I'm on my way. If you're watching this right now, drop a comment. Tell me what time it is where you are. And tell me, has your own family ever looked you in the eye and chosen someone else over you? I read every single one. To understand why I felt nothing that morning, you have to go back 17 years. My real mom died when I was 10 months old. Ovarian cancer, diagnosed too late. Dad held me at her funeral, sobbing, swearing no one could ever replace her. 13 months later, he married Rebecca. This is your new mommy, he told me. I was barely walking. Rebecca was already pregnant. Chloe was born the week I turned 2. Suddenly I was the big sister, while I was still in diapers. Rebecca's favorite phrase, big girls share. Let your little sister go first. So I went second, always. My grandmother, Eleanor, watched it all with sharp, quiet eyes. She saw Dad coming to her every few months with some new excuse. I need help providing for both my daughters. When I was 10, Grandma buckled me into her car and drove me to Mr. Lawson's office downtown. 3 hours later, she'd signed an irrevocable family trust. She placed the 6-bedroom house, the brokerage accounts, everything, into it. Then she added one critical line. Upon the beneficiary's 18th birthday, she shall become sole trustee with full, unrestricted authority to sell, transfer, or dispose of any trust asset without consent or approval from any other party. She squeezed my hand. This is your lifeboat, sweetheart. Don't be afraid to use it. From age 14 onward, I worked every job a minor in Ohio could legally hold. Babysitting toddlers for $12 an hour. Mowing lawns in 90-degree heat until my hands blistered. Shoveling driveways at dawn when the wind chill hit below zero. Tutoring algebra to middle schoolers who paid in cash and energy drinks. At 16, I got an evening shift at the Starbucks off Route 42. Green apron, fake smile, tips stuffed into an envelope labeled house fund. Every dollar went into the trust, because Dad and Rebecca needed things. A heated infinity pool, a home gym with floor-to-ceiling mirrors, marble countertops, a brand new white BMW for Rebecca, competitive cheer classes for Chloe, SAT prep courses, a gap year apartment downtown when Chloe decided college wasn't her vibe. I paid for it all, because I thought if I gave enough, they'd finally love me back. They never did. Chloe got trips to Disney World and Sweet 16 parties with live DJs. I got a grocery store sheet cake and forced smiles in photos. When Chloe totaled her Jeep at 17, I covered the insurance deductible with my graduation money. When Chloe wanted to find herself in the city for 8 months, I paid her rent so Dad wouldn't have to touch his retirement fund. Grandma Eleanor started forgetting names when I was 15. The last time she recognized me, she grabbed my wrist with surprising strength. They'll try to take everything that's yours. Don't let them. She passed 3 years ago. I promised her grave I wouldn't. Every double shift, every skipped dance, every swallowed tear. I was quietly loading ammunition they didn't know existed. They assumed the trust was just boring legal paperwork locked away until they were ready to cash out. They were wrong. And the second the clock hit midnight on my 18th birthday, the lock clicked open. I snapped photos of every page of that photocopied will, the red slashes across my name burning into the screen. I attached them to a message for Mr. Lawson. They just erased me. My phone rang before I even locked the screen. Ava. His voice was calm, steady. Section 7B is airtight. Your grandmother made sure of that. As of 12:01 this morning, you can sell the property today. No notice, no signatures, no court. I pulled up the trust portal on my laptop. Balance of 4,310,000. Current appraised value of the house wonders 350,000. I texted him, send the full trust document. Now. While the file downloaded, I opened the banking app and scrolled back 5 years. Every transfer I'd ever signed for, every withdrawal Dad and Rebecca told me was for the family. $168,000 for the infinity pool and mirrored gym, to $74,000 for Rebecca's white BMW, the hundreds of thousands where to close college fund, cheer camps, and the downtown apartment she abandoned after 4 months. I screenshotted every single line, dropped them into a folder titled Evidence. Emailed it to myself on 3 different accounts. Then I printed all 48 pages, stapled them, slid the stack into a manila envelope, wrote my name across the front in thick black Sharpie. I called Marcus Delgado. He picked up on the second ring. Ava Monroe, I've been waiting for this call. 1,280,000. Wire transfer. Close today. Silence for half a beat. I'm in Columbus right now. I can be there in 30 minutes. Title company owes me a favor. We'll make it happen. I gave him Mr. Lawson's direct line and hung up. Next, I called the locksmith on Porter Street who advertised same-day smart lock installs. I booked the first available slot. Then I reserved a 10-foot U-Haul, personal items only. I wasn't touching their furniture, their cars, their memories, just the things that actually belonged to me. I walked upstairs to my room, pulled 2 suitcases from the top shelf. Started with the only photo album my mom ever appeared in. Then Grandma Eleanor's handwritten letters, the ones she mailed me every birthday after her diagnosis. I folded my Ohio State acceptance hoodie, the one I bought with my own money, and tucked it on top. My laptop, external drive, the worn-out teddy bear Grandma won for me at the county fair when I was 7. Everything else could burn for all I cared. I carried the suitcases downstairs, set them by the garage door, opened the trust portal again. I initiated the wire instructions for Marcus's deposit. A 100,000 earnest money, non-refundable, due within the hour. The confirmation pinged instantly. Mr. Lawson texted, title company confirmed, cash deal, no financing contingency, clean title ready by 4:00 p.m. You're the seller and the trustee. Ohio law lets you sign both sides. It's done. I exhaled for what felt like the first time all morning. I walked through every room one last time. The kitchen island where Rebecca criticized my cooking. The living room couch Chloe spilled nail polish on and made me pay to reupholster. The backyard pool I cleaned every weekend while they lounged with friends. I took nothing. I left everything exactly as they deserved. My phone buzzed again. Marcus, wiring Ernest now. See you soon. I slipped the envelope with the trust documents into my backpack, grabbed my keys, stepped onto the front porch. The spring air smelled like cut grass and freedom. The house wasn't theirs anymore. It never really was. I pulled on my favorite gray Ohio State hoodie, tied my hair into a high ponytail, sat on the edge of my bed. The house was still silent. Perfect. My phone lit up with DocuSign notifications, one after another. Purchase agreement, trustee affidavit, seller disclosure marked, as is. I signed every page with the same calm stroke. The earnest money hit the escrow account at exactly 11:07 a.m., a 100,000 gone from Marcus's account, locked into mine, non-refundable. The title company emailed the final closing statement, closing scheduled for 4:30 p.m. Same day. Ohio law allows it when the buyer pays cash and the seller is also the trustee. No mortgage, no appraisal, no waiting period, just signatures and wire instructions. I called Fisher's Lock and Key on Porter Street. The guy recognized my voice from 2 years ago when I had to key after Chloe lost her set for the 3rd time. Need every exterior smart lock swapped today. I told him. I'm the trustee. I'll forward the trust docs. He quoted 800 and promised a tech within the hour. Next, a small local moving company I found on Yelp. 2 guys, 1 truck, 1 hour max, personal items only. I wasn't touching the sectional, the dining table, the 75-inch TV they all fought over. Just my stuff. I opened my closet and dragged out the two biggest suitcases I owned. First went the photo album with the faded picture of Mom holding me in the hospital the day I was born. Then the shoebox full of Grandma Eleanor's letters, each one ending with the same line, "You are enough." I added my high school yearbooks, the Ohio State hoodie collection, every pair of jeans that actually fit, the ancient MacBook covered in stickers. Last, the teddy bear Grandma won for me at the county fair when I was 7. Its left ear was half chewed off by the dog we had for exactly 6 weeks, before Rebecca decided pets were too much work. I zipped the cases, hauled them downstairs, lined them up by the garage door like soldiers ready to leave a war zone. I walked to the front entryway and unscrewed the wooden plaque that read, "The Munros Est, 2009, the year Dad married Rebecca." I dropped it into an empty Amazon box without ceremony. The title company emailed a PDF, "Property under contract, pending closing." I printed 2 copies on Dad's printer, taped one to the front door and one to the side window. No giant for sale sign, no courtesy to neighbors, just facts. The locksmith arrived first. 29 minutes door to door. He scanned the trust summary I emailed, nodded once, got to work. Door, back door, garage entry, patio slider, all new August smart locks keyed to my phone only. He handed me the old keys in a plastic bag. "Trash or keepsake?" he asked. I dropped them straight into the kitchen garbage. The movers showed up right after. 2 guys in gray t-shirts. I pointed to the suitcases and 3 banker boxes I'd filled with textbooks and winter coats. 43 minutes later, the truck was loaded and gone. Invoice paid from the trust debit card. I did one final walkthrough. Master bedroom. Rebecca's perfume still hung in the air. Chloe's old room. Cheer trophies gathering dust. The basement gym. Mirrors I paid for. Weights Chloe never touched. The pool out back. Crystal blue water. I used to skim it every Sunday morning while they slept in. I stood in the 2-story foyer, backpack on my shoulder, envelope of Trust originals in hand. Sunlight poured through the window above and landed on the exact spot where family Christmas photos used to be taken. I felt nothing, not anger, not sadness, just the clean, sharp edge of finality. I set the alarm to away, stepped outside, pulled the door shut. The new lock clicked with satisfying authority. The house was sealed. The white BMW turned into the driveway. The engine cut off with the same smug purr it always had. 3 doors opened. 3 sets of footsteps crossed the stamped concrete I used to power wash every Memorial Day weekend. Chloe saw the red and black, "Property under contract, pending closing," sign taped to the glass first. She froze mid-step. Louis Vuitton crossbody swinging. "Mom, Dad, what is that?" Rebecca's heels clicked faster. Dad was already at the door, fist raised like he owned the place, which, technically, he hadn't for almost 5 hours. He pounded hard enough to rattle the windows. "Ava! Open this door right now!" Rebecca's voice cracked behind him. "Baby, please, this isn't funny." I tapped the August app. The deadbolt slid back with a soft thunk. I stood in the 2-story foyer. Kenneth Lawson waited to my left in his navy suit, leather briefcase at his feet. Marcus Delgado leaned casually against the kitchen island, arms folded, black polo stretching across his shoulders. The escrow officer's face glowed on the mounted TV. Zoom window already open and waiting. Dad stormed in first, face the color of raw steak. He opened his mouth, and every word died when he registered the 2 strangers and the complete absence of my belongings. Chloe shoved past him. "Who the hell are you people?" Her gaze darted to the bare console table where senior pictures used to sit, then to the empty hooks by the garage door. "Where's all your stuff?" Rebecca clutched her pearls. "Literally. Ava, honey, whatever this is, we can talk." "It's not a discussion," I said. Dad finally found his voice. "You changed the locks on your own family." Before I could answer, the alarm let out 2 sharp chirps. I'd switched it to duress mode at noon. Any forced entry attempt triggers an automatic 911 dispatch with GPS coordinates. Less than 6 minutes later, red and blue lights painted the foyer walls. 2 officers stepped inside, one tall with a buzz cut, the other shorter and broader. The taller one scanned the room. "We got a priority alarm activation. Everyone calm down and identify yourselves." Dad exploded. "This is my house. My daughter locked us out and brought strangers inside. Arrest her." The shorter officer held up a hand. "Sir, lower your voice." He turned to me. My ID and paperwork, please. I handed over my Ohio driver's license and the stapled 48-page trust document. Mr. Lawson slid the certified deed addendum across the island. Kenneth Lawson, counsel for the trustee. The property transferred to Miss Monroe's sole control at 12:01 a.m. today. She is the legal owner. The officers took their time. The taller one read the critical paragraph aloud. Upon the beneficiary reaching age 18, said beneficiary shall become sole trustee with full, unrestricted power to sell, convey mortgage, or otherwise dispose of trust assets without consent, joinder, or court order of any other party. Dad's jaw worked soundlessly. Rebecca let out a high-pitched keen and swayed. Chloe screamed, "That's impossible! We were at our lawyer this morning. He said the house goes to us." Mr. Lawson adjusted his glasses. Your lawyer can amend a will all he wants. A will only controls assets titled in your personal name. This residence has been held in the Eleanor Monroe Irrevocable Trust since 2015. Your will is irrelevant. Rebecca collapsed against Dad's chest, gasping. We're being robbed in our own home. Chloe tried to bolt toward me. You planned this whole thing? You jealous? The shorter officer moved smoothly between us. Young lady, back up. Dad's eyes filled with tears he hadn't earned. Ava, sweetheart, whatever they told you, it's a misunderstanding. We love you. I looked at him and felt exactly nothing. You love the idea of my money, not me. The taller officer closed the binder and handed it back. Title and trust appear valid. Miss Monroe is the sole legal occupant. You three need to leave the property immediately. Rebecca screamed. A raw, animal sound. Chloe dropped to her knees right on the foyer tile, palms slapping the floor. This is my house! I grew up here! Dad tried one last desperate grab. Officers, please. She's 18 today. She's upset. Give us a chance to talk as a family. The shorter officer shook his head. Not on this property. Sir, you have 15 minutes to collect personal belongings. After that, anyone remaining will be removed. Chloe was openly sobbing now, crawling toward the staircase like a toddler. Rebecca had to be half carried by Dad toward the master bedroom. I heard drawers slamming, zippers ripping, Rebecca's broken wails echoing down the hallway. I stayed exactly where I was, arms loose at my sides, watching the clock on the cable box tick. 4:59, 5:05, 5:12. They came back down carrying 3 overnight bags and 2 purses, faces streaked. Dad paused at the threshold, shoulders shaking. Sandra wouldn't look at me. Chloe did, eyes full of pure hate. The officers escorted them to the porch. The taller one spoke quietly into his radio. The front door closed with a final soft click. Through the side window, I watched Dad fumble the key fob. Drop it. Pick it up with trembling fingers. Rebecca folded herself into the passenger seat, like a broken doll. Chloe climbed in back and immediately turned her face to the window. The BMW reversed down the driveway, tires crunching over the same gravel that used to scrape my knees when I learned to ride a bike. I didn't move until the taillights vanished. The title company's Zoom link flashed on the 70-inch TV I never liked anyway. The escrow officer's face appeared, crisp and professional. We're ready to record whenever the seller is. Marcus sat across from me at the oak dining table that used to seat 7 on Thanksgiving. Mr. Lawson placed the closing binder between us like a referee. I opened the laptop, angled the camera, hit record for my own records. The escrow officer walked us through the final closing statement. Purchase price under Sirs $280,000. Earnest money credited. Balance due for $780,000. Marcus tapped his phone. A notification pinged on the trust account. Wire received. 4:47 p.m. on the dot. I signed the warranty deed with the same black pen I used for my Ohio State application. Trustee's signature line. Seller's signature line. Both mine. 11 minutes from start to finish. The escrow officer smiled. Congratulations, Mr. Delgado. Recording confirmed with the county. Keys are yours. Marcus stood, stretched, shook Mr. Lawson's hand. Pleasure doing business. Then he looked at me. I'll have my crew here Monday to change everything over. Take your time leaving. He walked out the front door without another word. I stood alone in the house for the last time. The house was finally, completely quiet. 8 months later, my silver 2025 Honda Civic, paid in full from the trust, rolled past the old neighborhood for the first time. I didn't plan it. I was just taking the long way back from the aerospace engineering lab on campus, the one that smells like jet fuel and ambition. The cul-de-sac looked smaller. The maple trees had grown, but everything else felt shrunk. Marcus had painted the house charcoal gray with white trim. A new black Range Rover sat in the driveway instead of the white BMW. The basketball hoop Chloe begged for at 14 was gone. In its place stood a sleek metal sculpture that probably cost more than her first car. I slowed to 20 miles an hour without meaning to. My phone buzzed on the passenger seat. 780 unread messages from numbers I'd blocked the day I left. Chloe had created new accounts on every platform, sliding into my DMs with variations of "You ruined my life" and "Dad's drinking again." I never opened them, I just kept hitting block. I lived in a one-bedroom off Chauncey Avenue now, 3rd floor, west-facing windows that caught the sunset over the river. Rent was $2,200 a month. I paid the entire lease up front. The trust let me distribute up to $200,000 to myself as beneficiary without tax penalty, as long as it was for education or health. Ohio State's aerospace program cost about $30,000 a year in state. I paid 4 years in full the week I moved in. The rest covered books, food, and the quiet certainty that no one could ever take it away again. Dad and Rebecca ended up in a 2-bedroom apartment off Fall Creek in the cheap part of town near the reservoir. The buildings all looked the same. No equity left to refinance. Credit wrecked from missed payments once the house vanished. I knew because the trust still got the annual tax statements. Dad's credit score had dropped below 600. Chloe quit community college after 1 semester. She waitressed full-time at the Chili's on Route 42. Black polo and forced smile. Tips barely covering her share of utilities. She tried Venmo, requesting me 37 times before I blocked that too. The only person I still talked to from high school was Lily Park, my lab partner since sophomore year chemistry. She knew everything. She never judged. We met every Thursday at a diner near campus for burgers and root beer. She never once asked why I didn't go home for break. I turned left onto Route 42. Past the Kroger where I used to push the cart while Rebecca filled it with organic everything I paid for. The Starbucks on the corner still had the same green awning. I wondered if my old manager ever noticed I disappeared. 2. My phone lit up again. This time, a text from an unknown number. "Please, Ava. I'm pregnant. I need help. Chloe." I pulled into the empty church parking lot at the end of the block, hands tight on the wheel. The message sat there. No photo, no proof, just words. I stared until the screen went dark. I didn't reply. I deleted the thread, blocked the number, and drove the rest of the way to campus with the windows down and music loud enough to drown everything else out. Some doors stay closed for a reason. 2-2, my 19th birthday fell on a Saturday again. I threw open the windows of my Chauncey Avenue apartment, let the late May air roll in, and invited exactly 4 people. Lily plus Jake, Maya, and Liam from my propulsion systems cohort. No giant sheet cake, no forced singing, no fake smiles. Just 3 extra large pizzas from the campus spot, a case of cherry coke, and music loud enough to rattle the cheap blinds. We pushed the coffee table against the wall and turned the living room into a makeshift dance floor. Jake tried to teach everyone the Running Man. Maya recorded it for blackmail material. Lily and I ended up on the tiny balcony, legs dangling over the railing, watching college kids stream toward the chocolate shop below. She bumped my shoulder. "Happy actual birthday, Monroe." I smiled. The real kind. The kind that reached my eyes for the first time in years. "Thanks for coming." Inside, Liam was attempting to balance a pizza box on his head while the others counted seconds. Lauder spilled out the open door and floated down the street. 2 later, when the pizza boxes were stacked in the trash and the last guest hugged me goodbye, I stood alone on that same balcony. The sky was the color of a bruised peach. Street lights flickering on one by one. Somewhere 60 miles south, the house on Route 42 belonged to strangers who would never know the fights that happened inside those walls. The tears soaked into the carpet. The red pen marks across a little girl's name. I still carried Monroe on my driver's license and my Ohio State ID. But the paperwork to change it was already filed with the county courthouse. Mom's maiden name, the one Grandma Eleanor kept after Grandpa died. Harper. Ava Harper. The judge approved the petition last week. The new Social Security card was in the mail. One more tether quietly cut. 2 Lily poked her head out. "You okay?" "Never better," I said. And I meant it. She handed me a small white cupcake with a single candle. "Make a wish anyway." I closed my eyes. I didn't wish for money, or revenge, or even justice. I wished for the version of me who used to flinch at loud voices to stay gone forever. I blew out the flame in one breath. We stayed up until 3 in the morning, talking about grad school, NASA internships, the new Boeing whistleblower scandal, normal 19-year-old things. When Lily finally crashed on my couch, I pulled the throw blanket over her, turned off the lights, and stood in the dark kitchen, listening to the hum of the refrigerator and the muffled bass from the bar Peixos 2 blocks away. This was peace. Not the absence of noise, but the presence of choice. I opened my laptop and refreshed the trust portal one last time before bed. Balance 3,982,000. After tuition, apartment, and the new Civic. I closed the tab. I didn't need to check it every night anymore. My phone stayed silent. No frantic texts. No new numbers begging. I'd changed my number the week I moved into this apartment. The only people who had it were the 4 in my living room tonight and Mr. Lawson, who still sent quarterly statements like clockwork. I walked to the window. A couple stumbled arm in arm down the sidewalk, laughing too loud the way only college kids can. I watched them disappear under the railroad bridge and felt something loosen in my chest. Family isn't blood. It's the people who stay when you stop paying for their lives. It's the friends who show up with cheap pizza and expensive loyalty. It's the grandmother who built an iron wall around your future when everyone else was busy picking the lock. I turned off the balcony light, locked the door, crawled into bed. The last thing I saw before sleep was the faint glow of the water tower against the sky, gold letters shining like a promise I'd already started keeping. Tomorrow would be Sunday. I had a fluids exam Monday, a wind tunnel lab Tuesday, and absolutely no one waiting to take credit for my success. For the first time in my life, the day was entirely mine.